opening trailer. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Welcome to Conversations with Cornelius. I'm your host, Cornelius, and as you see today in studio land, y'all, we have the lovely Miss Toyin Umesiri. That I butcher her name, and I do apologize. But when I tell you I have somebody before y'all today who is global, not only is she global, she's godly. Not only is she global and godly, she is good. Not only is she global, godly, and good, she understands commerce. Not only is she global, not only is she godly, not only is she good, not only does she understand commerce, she has character. And last but not least, y'all, she is connected. Let me just share with you some of her connections, some of the things that she does. I'm talking about Teach International Trade, Entrepreneurship, Retail Leadership, Empowering and Equipping Leaders in Government and Business, Leadership Success Coach. I told you, she's godly, she's good, she's in government, she understands commerce, she understands trade, she has character. I introduce to some and present to others Miss Toyin Umesiri. I'm sorry for the name pronunciation, but welcome to Conversations with Cornelius.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I'm so humbled by the introduction. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm looking forward to engaging, to answering questions, and to inspiring your community to go for more.
And that's what we're going to make sure they do. We make sure they go for more. Hey, y'all, it's Conversations with Cornelius. I'm your host, Cornelius. Welcome to Conversations with Cornelius. I am your host, Cornelius. Today, you will be engaged, entertained, and educated. Stay tuned. You are about to be CC'd. It is Conversations with Cornelius. Good morning, Mel. Mel is from Portland, Oregon. So, Miss Toyin, you have somebody from Portland, Oregon already listening to you. And Mel, if y'all have questions and want to interact and ask questions, who's ever on, please do. Miss Toyin is ready to answer any question that you could possibly throw at her. So let's welcome our Twitch audience for the first time. Let's welcome our Twitter audience, our YouTube audience, and our Facebook audience. Miss Toyin, welcome to Conversations with Cornelius. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great and excited. Thank you again for having me, and greetings from Chicago. It's cold, but the weather is not too bad. But yeah, I'm happy to be here and looking forward to the conversation. So thank you again for having me, and welcome to everyone from all over the world. Thank you.
Wonderful. We are grateful that you have joined us and know that you bring a lot to the table. I was reading your biography or your profile on Clubhouse and some of the things you're doing. And I am so grateful that you have been positioned in this season to be a door opener. Let me say that. To be a door opener. Number one, here's why you're a door opener. Because we don't connect with people who have the influence that you have. Number two, you serve, or you're from the African continent, which is different from some of us, even in America. Those relationships have to connect. And then you African American. So tell me what it's like, first and foremost, being a door opener. Hello to Tasha and Kalina. What's it like to be a door opener?
Okay, that's interesting. I'm hearing you explain it and describe it that way tells me something that you're deep. Because many people don't see, many people don't understand, many people cannot articulate it the way you just did, and many people cannot see it. So you have a thought, you have a high, you have an insight. It's like what the Bible says, like flesh and blood haven't revealed this to you. You see, because sometimes I'm hiding in plain sight. Sometimes God hides us in plain sight, only for the learning, only for his people to see. Sometimes God preserves opportunity for those who have insights. So thank you for that.
Well, listen, I'm going to say this again to Mel, to Tasha, to Valina, who's listening. Miss Toyin is an international business. She's an international trade. She works with uh, dignitaries from the African continent as well as the American continent. We're not talking about, and I love mom and pop. I love grandmother to death. But we're talking, you make decisions about world affairs, and people need to respect sometimes
Mm,
just the position you hold. Watch this,
mm,
even if they don't respect the person of who you are.
mm.
So your position, your title, uh,
Mm,
you know, you run the you help run the world. You help manage and facilitate world affairs. So I need people to understand today.
mm,
We're not talking to you're not talking to me, and I
mm,
don't downplay me. We're talking to Miss Toyin
mm,
Umesiri, who has keys to doors that
mm,
unlock, listen, not only potential, but
mm,
prosperity and posterity. So
mm.
that's what I see.
And I thank you for that. And this, I now know it's a gift. So the work that I do is a gift. It's a calling, because the way I do it, I know it's a gift because many people cannot do it. And this is something that even when I was in corporate, so for those who may not know me, I served as a strategist for the world's largest company, Walmart, in Benton Harbor, Michigan. I'm sorry, in Benton, Bentonville, Arkansas. So the reason I mix those two up is because I also spent almost 7 years working for Whirlpool Corporation in Benton Harbor, Michigan.
All right.
Now, I
Okay.
also work, so for Walmart is in Bentonville, Arkansas. I worked there, and I also worked in Whirlpool Corporation, Bentonville, Michigan. So that's why I mix those two. I've lived in both places. So while I was in Walmart in Arkansas, I served in strategy. And what that allows you, it gives you the ability to see where the company is going,
Mhm.
right?
I'm
So you're
taking
working
notes.
with,
I'm taking notes.
yeah, so you're working with executives, right? C level, VP levels, designing the strategy of where the world's largest company is going, and you're helping to craft it. You're helping to design the next 3 to 5 year roadmap of directionally where that organization is going. So I had that sit in the room and influence, and they would listen to me because of my expertise, right? But what I would find is that when you now leave those rooms with the executives, you come down to regular, right? People that do not have that insight or that understanding, we tend to not know where the company is going. All we want to do is, it's just when we're not in the room, so we don't know those conversations. The same thing is true that now that as an entrepreneur, I do the work that I do, is that yes, I do have platforms. I host global summits where all the key leading experts in trade, in business, in government, US government, African government, World Bank, like multilateral institution, trade financing institution, they come in to attend my event to bring information. And I'm finding that that type of information, everyday people, we regular people, right? We don't see that. We don't have access to that. We don't
Mhm.
deal in that. And because we don't know where the world is going, we are not participating in the immediate opportunities that are being unlocked by the decisions being made in those rooms.
And those decisions, I don't want to cut you off, but those
No, you're fine.
decisions are the decisions we don't get to make.
And those decisions have serious global implications. So I'll give an example. In fact, I can give two. In 2019, I hosted the Trade with Africa Summit here in Chicago, and the ambassador for economic development for the entire continent of Africa came with his team. He was our distinguished guest, and we even extended an award as a champion of trade. And he came bearing gifts in gift as information of, this is what we're doing in Africa. This is how we're building the world's largest trade bloc. This is what you all need to be aware, including the diaspora, including African Americans. He brought us that information in 2019. Fast forward to today, they've implemented it. Africa now has the world's largest trade blocks that creates opportunity, commercial opportunities, import, export, and the African diaspora is recognized as the 6th region of Africa.
Now break that down. Now you let me hear me say what I think you said. The Prime Minister of the African diaspora.
Let me. So
Who,
there's you're familiar with European Union.
yeah, yes, ma'am.
So Africa has its own, the African Union, which is the governing body for the continent. So each nation, there are 55 nations on the continent. Right. It's a continent of over 1 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
It's projected to double to 2.2 billion. So the African Union Commissioner for Economic Development, Trade, Industry, Mining. So he has the oversight for economic development and trade on the continent, came to Chicago to educate us about what's going on commercially on the continent.
Once again, those are people I don't get to shake hands with often. Let me say this, ever, but I'm grateful for today that you come on and you give us the opportunity to connect with decision makers. That's why I said it's very important that you understand being a gatekeeper or a door opener in this season and the responsibilities that come with it. Because here I sit in Nashville and I'm talking to you in Chicago right now, but you're connected with the African American diaspora and how we could connect with 55 nations in Africa and begin trading with them, which leads to prosperity and posterity. You know, and gives me a totally different audience to just do business with and do world business. We don't have these conversations, not even oftentimes in churches where I serve. I've never sat down and talked about, well, how are we going to do business with the Nigerians this year? How are we going to do business with Uganda this year? How are we going to do business with Zimbabwe? How are we going to do business with Egypt and Ethiopia? How do we do business with these people? What marketing skills do we have, or what service can we provide? So talking to you today is really an eye-opener. That's why I said what I said.
Yes, and what I also am trying to communicate is that you have been factored into the policy of Africa. Africans, Americans, African diaspora are seriously recognized by the continent as the 6th region. You are recognized as a region of the African continent. Or physically on the continent, there are 5 regions: North, South, East, West, Central Africa. The 6th region, and there are policies and offices established to support the African diaspora. So on the policy side, African Americans are recognized. Now, also on the commercial banking side, there's also African Export-Import Bank. Also on the commercial banking side, they recognize intra-African trade as also trade among the diaspora back to Africa. And they will provide financial tools to help increase that. So when African Americans want to trade with the continent, my point is you have vehicles and bridges being established to help facilitate and make that happen.
And I'm grateful that we finally connect, because now my imagination and awareness is not just the next town. It's not just the next county. It's not just a bordering state. Now I'm talking to you and you get to introduce me, and I introduce you to my denomination and my church as, you know, a networker for the African diaspora and 55 nations. And we have services and we need to connect.
Yes.
And
yes,
like you said, when you get to these clubs and many clubs and these many places where you do not get to see people of color, You do not even get to embrace people possibly from even Africa. You're that person in that room. You represent 55 nations. That is a major responsibility. So, with that being said, when you were a little girl running around, did you ever think you would be in the position you're in now?
I think for me, whatever your hands find to do, do it well, right? So even when I was in corporate, when I was back home, like I just I just try to be excellent,
Mhm.
whatever opportunities I've been given. I try to make the best of it. And I think we leave it up to God to decide how he wants to use us. So we have to be diligent. We have to show ourselves as good, great stewards of our gifts and even the opportunities. And when God finds us faithful, like that's my principle, that's what I understand. Like we have to be found faithful even in the little things, right? And when you're found faithful, we become more useful. So for
Mhm.
me, even just yesterday, when I received the confirmation that I was actually approved by, the Secretary of State to represent the state of Illinois, Illinois District Export Council. It's an appointment by, government as well to help represent Illinois exporters. I saw that and wow, I was like, okay, that's another responsibility. It's an honor. I'll make the best of it. I'll do it as best as I can. And that's always been my principle because when we do that, God is always like the harvest is plenty, the laborers are the ones that are few. So for us is to enroll. We have to enroll to say I'm useful, I'm available, I will give my best. All we can do is give our best, right?
That's all we
God is
can
God
do.
is the one that enables, right? So I think that's something from a very young age that's how it's been. So I didn't when you do that, you don't really have to plan too much because God Himself is looking for people that can be that can as it is in heaven, bring it here on earth, that can see what God is what God wants to see,
Mhm.
right? Our Father in heaven, right? Let thy will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. Who are the people that would bring justice, right? Who are the people that would, even Jesus, when he was leaving, the mandate was take care of my sheep, right? Who are the people who would watch out after God's own people? So we get to represent God's voice as best as we can. We know in part, we prophesy in part. So all of this is also in part, but it's the one he enables us and he positions us as well for us to be relevant to ultimately what he's trying to do. So that's how I'll see it. So even on the conversation, one thing I also want us to be aware is that even the US government, so I also host the US government at my platform. They actually have also resources. There are 17 government agencies that have trade facilities, trade support services, staff that all they do is support Americans that want to trade with Africa.
But once again, we don't know these things. That's why this is so important
Mm,
because we need not only to know where to go,
mm,
let's find the gate first.
mm,
When we get to the gate,
mm,
how do we, what is the language
mm, mm,
to
mm,
even have access
mm,
beyond the gate?
mm,
And then the lifestyle that's required.
mm.
We're just not talking with, let me be facetious, St. John Missionary Baptist Church around the corner anymore. We're dealing with Miss Toyin, who is connected to the
Mm,
person who's over the African diaspora
mm,
about international trade and commerce.
mm,
And we have some services and goods that we can exchange. And we just need to know, like we need to know. Not only do we need to know you, we need to be coached by you to say these are the things you say,
mhm,
these are the questions you ask.
mhm,
You don't go in there as a cowboy trying to
Mhm.
usurp authority because you don't know.
Mhm.
You
Right.
don't know. You don't have a relationship. So Miss
Mm,
Mail from Portland said, right. We
mm.
don't know who Miss Toyin is. We don't even know she exists. And she's this close to helping change the economic landscape of all people. African
Right.
American,
Mm.
African American, Yugoslavian, the world landscape. So I just thank God for it.
Yeah, I thank God too. And what I also do is, okay, information, connection, right? Education, right? Coaching, guidance, right? Because I also point people to what's already on available, should I say, under their noses. So let me give some examples right there in your states. Okay.
What? Please tell me, because I need to know. What
Okay.
is in Tennessee that I'm missing out on
Okay.
in the
You would
business?
you probably would need to start checking in on your Department of Commerce.
Department of Commerce.
Okay,
Okay.
start checking in on international trade centers, ITCs. Start checking in on your SBAs, small business administration. So there are structures already in place by US government that goes from the federal level in DC is the headquarters, but there's an entire structure, okay, right here in America that touches the grassroots from
Hmm.
federal to state to local. And they are heavily funded by, for example, the Biden administration to provide education, support, services to you and I as taxpayers. What we find is that because people don't know and they are not networked in, you don't participate what you don't know. So each state, they have their Department of Commerce, and within those Commerce Department, Commercial Services Center, there are representatives that if you reach out to them, they will set up meetings for you. And they also provide support to say if you want to connect to any US embassy all over the world, if you want to export your products to any country where US has representation, consulates, embassies, there's something they call direct line. It's a service of that department to connect US citizens to embassies around the world to set up meetings with business people in those countries.
Hmm.
So you don't even need to. So those are some of the connections that there's federal level. So for example, there are federal agencies in DC that fly in, but there are also local level, like Chicago, Illinois entities that also come in to speak to us. There's international trade centers, the SBAs, there's the SBDCs, there's the WBDCs, tax paid. They are there, fully paid to provide you coaching, consulting services to hold your hands. They might not do it as best as maybe other people, but it's a great starting point. It's a great starting point. And they're not, for most of them, sometimes the reason I point people to them is most of their services are free.
Didn't know. First of all, didn't know the people, didn't know the connections, and watch this. I didn't know the cost.
It's
You
free
said
to
it's
you.
free. I mean, Miss Toyin, we have product, we have goods, we have manufacturers, uh, we have what it needs to connect with the world.
Mm,
The world is
mm, mm,
uh
mm,
full, it's the commercial. We need this conversation more than we are having it,
mm,
because
mm, mm,
people are literally starving
mm,
in
mm,
their passion because they don't have the
mm.
connections.
Yes, I see that, and that's why they say knowledge is power.
Mhm.
Is that what we don't know, we don't know, but when we know better, we do better. And this is what we talk about economic power, right? Is that we get to liberate ourselves and we actually attain a certain level of freedom by the things we know. So oftentimes, a lot of times, like trade information is something you actually have to invest in. So a lot of times, excuse me,
You
Certain
good?
communities have been made to believe that the best information that will make you prosperous would just arrive at your doorstep. It doesn't happen. It's that there's a certain level of, should I say, success advancement that you have to start taking responsibility to fish for yourself.
Hmm.
Because whatever actually comes to you free is the leftover, right? It's the leftover that people then bring into certain communities, and it's like peanuts. The real meat of all of the global opportunities, people that are very hungry, you have to be very hungry. They invest, they are positioned, they subscribe into certain communities, newsletters. They want to be the first to know. For you,
Yes.
if you want to be the first to know, you will invest in it. And if you don't invest in it, you'll be the last to know. By default, you are the last
Right.
to
And
know.
and by the time you're by the time you determine what you want to know, you've already made up your mind you don't want to do
The work.
anything with the information that you have. So
Yes.
when you talk about 55 nations, when you talk about us connecting with the African diaspora and just other places in the world, what are some of the goods and the services? If you're at liberty to tell us what is needed
Yeah.
there.
Let me start with, look at my skin, right? Skincare.
Skincare, hair care, huh?
Okay. Let's just start with what we, what in our community, the things we use. Let's start there. Fashion, jewelry, right? African fashion. We talk about the Black Panther. Remember the Black Panther movie?
Yes,
Many
yes.
people wanted the demand for like Afrocentricity is on the rise. There's increased demand for made in Africa stuff. And when you think about how China played in the should I say supply chain, how people would buy things cheaply in China, bring it to the US, sell it on Amazon and make money. Africa is now that place that can do the same, right? Shea butter only comes from Africa, only grows there, like only comes from Africa. All the shea butters in the world comes from Africa. You can build a business around sourcing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And then distributing. You can build a business also by selling to Africa. So, import, export, or if you have a service, you're a shipping company, you're a packaging, marketing agency, you're a technologist, right? So, when it comes to economic development, the space is broad. It depends on where do you want to play, because a nation that is moving and advancing and growing economically, you have agricultural needs, you have to feed the people.
I'm
You have,
taking
if
notes.
you
I'm
have,
taking notes.
yes, baby products. One of my clients designed a new diaper product and really designed it just for Africa. You don't even have to sell it in America. You can build a brand and sell it, right? So it's selling to Africa, is buying from Africa, is engaging, it's education, right? If you're a teacher, what can you do? And the power of technology really also allows us to now start engaging. And something else that I teach, entrepreneurship, right? It's not just, okay, Africa, even here at home, there are opportunities here in America that, with business development mindset, business fundamentals, marketing, sales, business models, right? Understanding our customers, we can build bigger brands. We can build bigger businesses. We can go after more, right? We can. So, one thing I share in my classes, I talk about there's a local market, there's a regional market, there's the global market.
Slow down. Local, regional, global.
Right. So here in the US
Mm-hmm.
is you and I, our local market is the US market. How you buy and sell, we can sell more. We can go national. You can go statewide. You can go national within US. The next opportunity is something we call region. Beyond USA, you have the North American market, Canada, Mexico.
Right.
So, for example, in Arkansas is the largest exporter of rice in America.
Arkansas.
Yes. rice,
Rice,
agriculture. Yes.
didn't know. And
Right.
that's
So,
listen, that's a neighboring state.
yes.
So if I was, a person that lives in Arkansas, I mean, for me to capitalize on it, I would definitely invest in the rice market. I mean, I don't just
Yeah.
be, yeah, didn't
Right.
know
So, exactly. Like, and it's like anything whatever you find in your hand,
to do.
whatever within your reach, there's a potential in it.
Hmm.
So even when I hosted my inaugural summit in Arkansas, we launched it in Arkansas and we've taken it elsewhere. We talked about chicken.
Uh-oh. Now Tyson, we got a lot of chicken in Tennessee.
Well, the former CEO of Tyson Foods was a speaker for me. He spent 36 years in the agriculture business. The company is $40 billion chicken business, and he was my
So,
speaker.
how much?
$40 billion chicken poultry.
Hold up. $40 billion
Yeah, Tyson. And
chicken
the headquarters is
industry.
in Arkansas. Yes, Tyson Foods is based in
Arkansas.
Springdale, Arkansas.
And then they have some plants here in Tennessee, which are probably about 40 minutes from where I live.
Right. So Donnie Smith rose up through the ranks and became the CEO of Tyson Foods.
Uh-huh.
And now, since retirement, he's actually been investing in Africa, supporting agriculture, having some initiatives when it comes to even chicken poultry business in Rwanda. So he came to my event. He was one of my speakers. He's now the founder of the African Sustainable Agriculture. Like, he's now heavily involved, maybe probably full time in Africa in terms of agriculture, chicken, poultry, and he supports people at the lowest end of the pyramid.
Mm-hmm.
Because here in US, he's done big business. So he knows what big business is. But some of the things he does, he teaches people how to, like, agricultural practices, how to earn a living, right? Even in rural Rwanda, he teaches them how to earn a living. So these things are real. So yes, we talked about chicken. We also talked about coffee.
I mean, these are goods and products that I have at my disposal, and these are goods and products I have at my disposal. And I don't see them as economic. I see them as liabilities rather than economic assets. See, it's the game. It's the framework of thinking. You're telling me Tyson chicken is connected to Rwanda, and here it is. It's 45 minutes from where I reside. And I need to become a player, or I need to become an influencer. Let me use that term as it relates to how we can cultivate a culture in Rwanda and have some of these things here taking place from Nashville, America. Like, I wish when you get to when you come to Nashville, when I bring you to Nashville, you're gonna be like, "Oh, Cornelius, you're sitting on a gold mine." I'm gonna say, "What?" And you're gonna say this, the A, B, C, D, E, F, G. I'm gonna be like, never thought of it like that.
Yes.
So I'm grateful that you're here sharing with me how I can tap into the African diaspora, 55 nations, and do business because there's something in my hand.
Yes, and okay, let me go a little bit spiritual, right?
Go spiritual. We can have a little church. I don't mind that.
What did God ask Moses? What's in your hand?
What's in your hand?
I think what God doesn't like is when we make ourselves small. God doesn't like that because he doesn't make us small. Right? I think, because when we make ourselves small, we make the God who created us like he didn't know what he was doing. Right? So we have to believe in what God has done in us, right? And what he wants to do through us. And we also have to believe that we are equipped. We are equipped. Now, we have to then put those things to work, which is where the parable of the talent is, that we've all been given something. 5 talent, 2 talent, 1. But there's a mindset that also says this is nothing and throws it away. Right? But there's another mindset that invests and put those things to work, which was the mindset of that parable of 5 talents, trade it, multiply.
That's right.
So the power of multiplication is putting things to work.
The
putting your
power of
skills to work.
multiplication.
The power of you only multiply the things you invest. Seed. The only way you're going to multiply a seed is if you pour it and plant it and invest it.
Right. And since we're staying in this vein, as long as the earth remains,
Seed
there will
time.
be seed time and harvest. But see, you bring a seed of knowledge.
Mm.
And remember, my people perish
Woo!
for lack of what? Knowledge.
Woo!
See, people, we don't know. Like, I'm telling you, what you say, snap, 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 snap.
What?
Snap, snap, snap. We perish because we do not have these conversations to understand that something that is close to me geographically literally is a world player.
Oh, what did God say to the widow? What's in your house?
What's in your house?
It starts with you, your mind, your heart. God is not like, it starts with us.
That's right.
What's in your house? What's in your hand? Give me something to work with.
Right.
The 5 loaves, what do we have?
What do we have?
Jesus wants to perform a miracle, but it's like, what do we have? 5 loaves, 2 fishes, that's more than enough. Give thanks.
More. Right.
More than enough. He's the God that multiplies. He's the God that amplifies. He's the God that
He's
elevates.
the God. Yes.
But our own duty is to believe. And what is being attacked every day is your belief.
Okay.
When you stop believing, that's it. God cannot use you. Because he who comes to God must believe that he is. And he is a rewarder
of them
that seeks him. So all of this work, we are seeking wealth for our communities. If you are not seeking it, it's not coming to you. If you're not seeking it, if you don't want it, God is not wasting anything on you.
He's not.
Again, the best that will come to people who don't seek this thing is the leftovers.
Listen, and we don't really want the leftovers because we will leave what's left over. Did you hear that in the spirit? Because it's a leftover, sometimes we will leave and walk away what's left over when what's the thing that's left over is actually the miracle.
So claim it. So claim what belongs to you. So if you don't want, this is the time to claim what God has already given to you. And so here's the other thing we have to be careful about. The children of Israelites had a promise. They got to the promise, the edge of the promise, and their mindsets stopped them from entering in. Right? There's an entire generation. There's an entire generation that God had greatness for. Like God has greatness, but he can only work with what we believe.
That's right.
Like he cannot walk outside of our belief, because guess what? As mature Christians, God will empower you, but you must be ready to fight. Gideon fought. It was an economic battle too, because he was hiding somewhere, threshing, right? Their farmland were being destroyed. The things they owned were being destroyed. But guess what? God brought him out of hiding. I will still send you. You're still going to do that work. Oh, who am I? I'm nothing. God's mighty man of stop it.
Right.
What do you believe about your God and yourself? Because that is what is being attacked every day. Is your identity. What is your true identity? Where do you belong? What rooms do you belong in?
And that's the key. That's the key. What room do you belong in?
Because that room, you have to find the key and you have to bust it open. Either you find the key or you bust it open.
Well, we got to be careful how we bust it, or we don't want to break it.
There are times, this is where depend how much you know God is how you can walk this thing through, right? Right. There are times when it's like as wise as the serpent, as gentle as the dove.
That Jesus said that though.
Yes.
That's a statement that Jesus said. And we all listen here. Let me say that we always spiritualize things and forget there's a natural consequence.
Ooh, brother, we spiritualize, we don't practicalize.
Ooh, wait a minute now. We spiritualize it. We don't. There is a consequence to the things God says. Wisdom is the principal thing, and be wise as a serpent. A serpent never puts himself out there in plain sight. He doesn't, his moves, he doesn't do things openly. When a python, when he's ready to get to his prey, he steadily stalks it. And sometimes in life, we don't move correctly. Therefore, when it's time for the ambush, we miss out on the opportunities in life because of wisdom. We lack wisdom, and wisdom is the principal thing. And you and I said it, and we're cloning it here and claiming it. We spiritualize, we don't practicalize. We have to take these things and make them practical, especially in the business sense.
Right.
What does Miss Toyin need to take back to the African diaspora that comes out of Nashville? There's a church in Nashville that has a product that the people of Africa could benefit from.
Right.
And how does that happen?
Exactly.
Go ahead.
And it could also even be here in America, there are African diaspora here that they have their own stores. You know that Africans have their own African stores where they buy the food they just like the Chinese, right? When you were speaking, right, what dropped in my heart is that there's a move of God, right? There is a time to be quiet and just keep walking around Jericho, but there is a time to shout, right? It's all about understanding the seasons. Men of Issachar, they understood the season. Yeah. And for me, what I'm seeing now, this moment that is making me also speak differently than I've ever done, is that God, the God of opportunity, has released opportunity. But for you to capture it, you have to be empowered, equipped, and educated.
Empowered.
And if you're not, educated, you can't participate. Right? It's like if you want to be a doctor, no matter how much you wish it, we have to be schooled. We have to be educated. We have to embody a new kind of knowledge. If you want to be an accountant, the only way we get to say, I'm an accountant, I'm a lawyer, is because we've been schooled. So when we speak with authority. That's what's going on, is that international trade or even entrepreneurship in general, we have to become a student of those things. We have to, because a lot of times we assume it is easy, so we rush in, but we have to learn, we have to study, we have to understand how come they do it this way? What do they know that we don't know? What knowledge do they have that I need to go? And oftentimes you have to buy the truth because we've been sold lies. Right? So we also have to be able to distinguish. There's different kinds of knowledge. There are knowledge that hold people bound. They look like you're black, you're female, and because of that, this is what you can do. Some people believe it and they stay there. So for you to believe otherwise, to break away from the shackles of limiting mindset, you've got to break out of whatever is keeping you bound.
You said something about the knowledge. When you walk into these rooms, you are equipped and educated about these things. Say, take me under your wing, just hypothetically, which you have done. Thank you for this interview. Where do I start? What questions do I ask? You know, like I said, once I get to the gate is one thing. But see, there's a language on the other side of the gate. And then there's a language on the side of the gate that I'm on.
Yes.
And I need to understand the language on the other side of the gate. So help me understand the language on the other side of the gate so that when I get beyond the gate, I will know what to do.
The language is value. It's value. What value are you bringing and what value do you want? Value, it's a value exchange. The reason I'm trying to make it simple is because there's another narrative out there where people feel entitled.
Right.
Entitlement, people will throw you a bone. It's like pardon me, it's like a pet saying, woof, 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 woof. I feel entitled. They don't bring you into their room to engage. They will throw you over the fence what you feel entitled. They'll keep you away. So the only way you get into entrepreneurship at the next level and international trade is you bring value.
Bring value.
You bring value. And that value is what they want, and they have what you want. It's a value exchange. So entrepreneurship is about value exchange, right? We produce products or we provide services because we want your money.
Listen, that's bringing value. We have a good question from my friend. Next time he's going to be on here with us, Roger Russell. He said, what is the next field to sow in for communal economic growth?
I would say personal development. So I would say it in two ways.
Okay.
Personal development for ourselves and personal development for the next generation and our community. So
Personal development for self.
first of
Okay.
all, put on your own oxygen mask. Empower yourself. Develop yourself. Increase your own value. The only reason I can come to your show is because I've been investing in myself to elevate my own brand, my own voice, my own message to certain places. And because I've done it for myself, I can now pass it back to the community.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can only offer what we have, right? So when I talk about personal development, many times people would see it as personal development is how you increase your value in the marketplace. Remember, I said it's all about value exchange. So the moment I want more value, the moment I want more value in the marketplace, the question I should be asking is, how can I produce more value? Because your perceived value is what people would pay you for. How people perceive your value, your branding of yourself, of your product, of everything that how you're showing up is whether it's brand sponsorship, whether it's customers, whether it's the level of clientele you're able to attract. It starts with how have you elevated yourself, whether it's how you think, how you speak, or the product. So I used to work with Whirlpool Corporation, okay, for almost 7 years. The refrigerator that they produce has been doing the same thing for more than 50 years. But every year, they are increasing the value by engineering it. A refrigerator has been doing the same thing since it's ever been
Say the
invented.
refrigerator is the refrigerator.
Yes, it is. It keeps food cold. It's been doing that since 50 years. But it doesn't look the same today that it looked 50 years ago. Why? They put more stainless steel, new handles, TVs. They keep engineering that thing. Why? So that they can charge you more. $2,000, $2,000, $3,000 for the same thing that maybe it was $200 in 1950.
Right.
It's the same thing. That's what they do to products. Services is the same. When you brand a certain way, when you sell a certain message, Nike is selling us a message because what they are selling, you can buy a $20 one in any store. But what we are really buying into is the brand message. That's where they are investing in. So personal development is what the field is. Let's invest, let's build our brand, let's optimize our products. If you've been doing the same thing for the last 10 years, this is the time to upgrade so that you can charge more and earn more in the marketplace. When we do it for ourselves, we can then look at the next generation. We can then do it for our community. So economic development is building enterprise, right? Where you buy my product, I buy your product. When there's no economic activity, things dry up. The way you create economic activity is you produce. It's about productivity.
Now let me ask this: in the African diaspora, the 6 regions, and we're the seventh. Did you say America's the seventh?
That's sixth, the diaspora. So Africans or descendants of Africans
Hmm.
scattered abroad all over, not living on the continent, is what is regarded, generally speaking, as the diaspora.
Okay. What service? What are you? What product? Like you're an entrepreneur. You're a success coach. You're a life coach. You do those. What product uh, would you consider? And if you have any context about Tennessee, other than Tyson Chicken, what product in Tennessee do you see as an economic asset right now?
Right. So I'll just say sectors, right? So agriculture,
Okay.
beauty industry, huge. Think of hair care. Just think of skincare on the continent.
Of Africa, right? This.
Everybody looks like you and I.
I think I look
I'm
pretty good.
kidding.
Yeah, we good. I think
In
I
fact, let
yeah.
me also share this. Many, this is funny, but Africans look up to African Americans.
Oh, we never heard this. Now let's
Your
talk.
music,
Okay,
your entertainers, the
Okay.
way you dress, the way you look, the way you sound. There are places on the African continent that what they don't do is copy and paste.
Oh,
The African
okay.
American culture influences a lot of dress, the way Africans dress, because Africa is very westernized. There are countries that are probably even more westernized, like because of colonialism, the British rule, all of that. There is
Mhm.
more westernization, right? So we watch your movies, we know Eddie Murphy, we know Will Smith,
Right, coming to
we
America,
know
huh?
Beyonce.
Yes.
We we whip our hair.
Okay.
So
Oh.
there's a lot of African American influence on the continent.
Uh-huh.
They are watching you, they are engaging with you, and they love you.
But we don't know that. We this is something that we don't know. And like I said, having a gatekeeper,
Hmm.
the responsibility of a gatekeeper, doorkeeper such as yourself to say, hey, Cornelius, this is something that Uganda could profit from, and Uganda has something you can profit from. Nigeria, Zimbabwe. These are areas that can profit from mental health services,
Yes,
like a
healthcare.
pre-cares, hair care, any product that you have. We just don't have these conversations because, once again, knowledge
Is
is a
power.
seed,
and
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 knowledge is
also,
power.
yes, and also your state, there are times when, okay, I know COVID travel is restricted, like reduced
Right.
now, but there are certain trade missions that the states usually sponsor, where you actually go and exhibit your products on the continent, and the states would either way, cover the cost for you, or give you a percentage, maybe 50 or 70% reduction, that the states, like a grant, they would um bear some of the cost of your travel cost if you're
Mm,
going there for business.
got you.
So you also want to look for trade missions to Africa, which is, trade mission is the US government, going, taking US, because the US government always acts on behalf of the private sector, right?
Right.
So
Right.
the government always, they're looking for private sector actors, entrepreneurs that want to do business with Africa. In fact, in DC, the Export Import Bank of the United States, there's an office specific for minority to finance commercial activities of minority, US minority, to do business with Africa.
Got you.
So,
Question. Here's a
yes, sir.
question. What do you see, or how does the American church
Oh, wow.
engage in the marketplace? How does the
Wow.
church now engage in the marketplace?
Wow. This is personal to me. Okay.
All
So,
right.
um, it's so personal, right? And I'm trying to be careful. All of the things we're talking about is really for God's people first.
Okay. Okay.
I
But
believe it.
right.
However, It's back to that story of Jesus at the pool of Bethesda and saying, He's like, do you really want this?
Do you want to be made whole?
Do you want to be made whole? Because it will cost you. You will stretch. You will stretch. Like, for us to claim the land, the opportunities, my personal challenge to people of faith is God's blessing will come upon the work that we invest. See, if you multiply God's blessing on zero, if you haven't given God something to work with, it's tough. It's tough. And we are the most blessed people, but the key is, are we giving, how bad? Because heaven would back you. That's what God does. He backs us. So he backs us and he pushes us. So he wants to push us into certain new spaces. And it's like Joshua, my servant Moses is dead now, but guess what? You be courageous. I'm with you. Do not be afraid, but go. So a lot of times we are comfortable where we are at. We are comfortable. And I think this is the time when the eagle stirs the nest. And it's time for God's children to, fly to new heights, fly to new aspirations. I'm teaching like a new leadership program this month, really to empower people to embrace the mindset of champions. It's because there's a lot of things we have to do, and we have to practicalize, like you talked about before. We have spiritual principles that non-believers practice, and we don't practice. We believe, we know it, but we don't implement it. Because, and the way I explain that, knowledge is step one, but knowledge is different from skill.
Knowledge is different from skill. You're
And
right.
skill can only be improved on if practiced over time.
Not perfect, but permanent.
You have to, it's like when they talk about imposter syndrome, part of it is because we've not practiced enough. Because once you master that opportunity, right, imposter syndrome disappears. So at the beginning stages of, say, we're a new entrepreneur, we are in spaces we've never been before. We're learning something new. It feels challenging, difficult. It's because we've not mastered it. And we have to push past that pain. We have to educate ourselves past that point before we master it and we elevate. Right? So when we're in school, it's easy for us to see levels of success. But even today, I would say there are levels of success, even outside of school, that entrepreneurship has levels. But a lot of times, unknown to us, we just park our car and say we've arrived.
And we have not developed the disciplines.
Because we don't know what more looks like.
What more looks like?
Right? Like the work you're doing right now, what does more of it look like? What does the next level? If God was to share something, he said, eyes have not seen, neither has it entered the heart of man, what God has planned for you. When God shows you the possibility and the potential and the greatness of you, what would that do? And how would you pursue it? Right? Because this is not hit.
Right? It's not hitting, huh? No hitting.
This is not the cap of your potential. No. It's the preparation before the possibility and the opportunities. That's what I see every day. So every single day we need to be pushing the boundaries, right? We need to be pushing back. We need to be expanding. That's part of international. People expand beyond. You start your business. So Walmart started in Bentonville, Arkansas. But you push the boundary. You win your local market, you go statewide. State, national, or regional, national. That's how the biggest companies in the world becomes Fortune 500, is because most of those companies are global. They pushed beyond. They didn't stay in their local spaces. They pushed. They were hungry for more, and they conquered more. So back to entrepreneurship, I think entrepreneurship reflects the mindset of the founder. That's what they call founder's mindset, because it is a reflection of how we think and what we want to solve and create in the world. And there's no limit to that. Somebody decided they are going to space. It was a decision. Like, we've been there, done that. Amazon, we've conquered. What else can we conquer? Let's conquer the moon.
Let's go live there, huh? Wow. Miss
Well,
Toyin.
some of us are still figuring out our street level. We've not even conquered our street. People on the streets don't know us. It's a mindset. A mindset of more. There's more. The moment we realize there's more, whatever success level you've arrived, there's more. It's like a 1-year-old. I don't know, you've probably heard me say this. A 1-year-old or a small child, we feed them. 5-year-old, go and bring your plates. 9-10-year-old, right, go and serve yourself. Teenager, look in the pantry and make something. Even me, I will eat. As an adult, go and find a job. Go to the shopping mall, buy what you need. Go to the supermarket, buy your food. Come home, cook it, serve yourself, clean up outside after yourself. Then as a family, you're not just worrying about your own need, but your family's needs. You're caring for order. As a grandmom, you are now caring for the community. So there are maturity levels in entrepreneurship or anything we're doing. But when you still stay saying, feed me, I'm hungry, are you at the toddler level of success, or infant level, or teenager level, or 10-year-old level? Because the people that I see, they are the grandpas and the grandmas that they've been there, done that. Now they are creating opportunities for more people. So for example, some of the work we were featuring, someone that was the CEO, Donnie Smith. It's no longer about him. He's an independently wealthy millionaire. He's taking care of himself, his family, his kids, grandkids. Now his mind is Rwanda, a nation. How can I teach a nation how to bet their own livelihood? Now he has the capacity to not say it's about me putting food on my table. It's like, how can I put food on the mouth of other people? Scott Ford, in his 40s, sold a business to Verizon for $29 billion. He could have stayed there. No, he took that money, plowed it into the coffee business, creating opportunity for more than 50,000 farmers around the world. So success has levels. Success has levels. So some people are still somewhere saying, feed me. That's okay. But at some point, my conversation is let's mature. Where, yes, we're taking care of ourselves, but we're also taking care of one another.
My. Miss Toyin, listen, we're going to have to wrap it up. I don't want to, but hey, I need to get you to Nashville ASAP. But also, I need people to connect with you ASAP. So could you tell them how they could connect with you on your social medias and possibly some of your coaching packages, and tell them that, listen, you not to brag. Let me do the bragging. You a gatekeeper. You a key holder for 55 nations. And we just want to be able to connect. So tell them a little bit of
thank you so much. I'm honored. We do have multiple platforms, but the easiest way to find it is just to go to toyinumesiri.com. So I have courses for export development. So let me say there is a US policy that's been available for 20 years since Bill Clinton that allows you to import over 6,000 products into US market without duty or taxes. that people don't know about it. It's due to expire in 2025. So the export development class, so there's business classes, export courses, and then trade and investment facilitation course that is available. Then I also have a membership. I have entrepreneurship and leadership membership, and I have international trade. If you want to start networking with government and other stakeholders that are advancing trade with Africa. So I think the easiest place to go, and I also have resources, free resources there that you can immediately start accessing and educating yourself. And it's toyinumesiri.com. I'm the founder and CEO of Nazaru, the Trade with Africa Business Summit. I also serve as leadership and success coach. So I have limits some spots to do one-on-one for those who have the budget, but it's tough to I want to support as many people as possible. So that's why we also have the membership, group membership programs. Next week Saturday I'm doing a leadership program, 12 strategies for winning. We need to win. We need to win, like, for real. It's, when you talk about trade, it's winning. May the best man win. It's like the Olympics of business. You come prepared, you come fierce, you show up with knowledge, you have the best branding, packaging, you compete, you negotiate, value for value. You bring value, you ask for value in return. I also talk about networking your way to success, because your network is your net worth if you've built a network that has value, right? You invest, it's like a bank, right? You deposit something, it gets interest, you get money back. Your network, many people don't invest in their network, right? That's why you can't go into it and extract value when you need it. Like when you get into a space and you can pick up a phone and call someone and say, I need ABC, and that person jumps and does it for you. That's when it becomes your net worth, right? And it's commercial. For me, mindset of value is the mindset that moves us away from expecting somebody to do certain things for us, which is the world of charity, to us empowering ourselves, us developing ourselves to increase our value in the marketplace, that people start looking for us, right? People need to start looking for us at some point. But what they're looking for is what we can do for them, the value we're going to bring to them, how we contribute to them, right? So for me, my hope is always to bring value to people who I engage with, who I connect with, and who I serve. And that's really the game changer. We do more of that. We do enough of that. And people would be telling other people that if you want value, that's where you go. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you.
Listen. We're out of time. We're just not out of talk. I'm grateful that you're here. Clubhouse. Are you going to do any clubhouse rooms in the next few hours? Or what's your clubhouse schedule look like? Because that's how I met her, y'all. I met her on Clubhouse.
I'm glad I gave Clubhouse a chance. I'm more of a Instagram, LinkedIn.
Okay.
Now, there are certain things happening on the LinkedIn where they're also doing audio. So I want to also test those things out.
Okay.
So I'm not very consistent on Clubhouse, but I'm consistent on LinkedIn and Instagram. Okay. LinkedIn, Instagram. I've been doing a lot of daily. So I'm still going to do daily engagement now, because we have so much work to do, brother. We have so much work to do.
Yes, we do.
We have.
Your Instagram name is
Toyin Umesiri, right?
Okay.
Like my first name, my last name.
Okay.
You find me on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and even Clubhouse as well.
Right.
And my YouTube. So I have tons of resources on my YouTube as well.
And I've gone to your YouTube and seen some of the things that you've done. So yes,
brother. So let me ask you a question.
You gonna ask me?
How can I serve you? How can I serve you today? Like, because I always want to leave some form of encouragement. Because for me, like, if you're listening to this, you need to thank my brother. Like, he's the real deal. He cares deeply, right? He cares, like, he's passionate about you all. I can see it through his eyes. He's giving everything to this, and the community gets to you. You have to support my brother. Like, these are the people we need to elevate in our community. Today, I put something out there. I said thought leaders, right? We talk about influencers, right? A lot of times in the when we say consumables, okay, so I'm from retail. I have a retail background.
Consumables. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes,
So in the
yes.
consumable space, the way we influence people to buy is fluffy. Like we just have to do this and flash our lipstick and then you buy.
Mm-hmm.
But the real influencers that I say we need to elevate are the thought leaders, the way they think. They are influencing you by their passion, the way they think, what they desire, the transformation they desire for you, how they inspire you, motivate you, educate you. Why? For your own growth.
Mm-hmm.
See, somebody selling you a tennis shoe is not going to tell you to change your mind. They're just looking to, is it, give me your money, I sell you a shoe. Whether you are in the Bronx, whether you are in, they don't care about you changing your situation.
Right.
They are not looking for you to better yourself. If you go in and you want to buy a car, bring your money, we'll sell you, whether you can afford it or not. We are not, those who sell some consumable doesn't transform you. That's why some communities invest too much on consumables, but they don't invest in personal development, leadership. They are putting their money in looking good, smelling good. I love looking good. But what will help you create more wealth is personal development.
Mm-hmm.
Take that money and put it in a class, in a course, in a coaching program, because when you take those programs, you will elevate your value and you can now make more money. But as long as all we are doing is that shoe, sneaker, it's good. Trust me, I love nice things. I have designer stuff. But that's not what brought me here.
Right. But
And
I'm
what's going
here.
to bring us there
And
is
I'm
when
here.
we invest.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what my brother is about. He cares enough about you, your growth. I did not see him. I have lipstick. So I trust me, I know consumables and I know transformation. I do both. When we're saying transformation, leadership, success, it's because we are challenging ourselves to go higher. But when we're selling consumables, we leave you where you are. You just buy what we sell and we move on to the next person.
That's
And
right.
it's easier to sell consumables in the market we're in. It's a lot harder, right? Because my brother, we are challenging us to more. We're challenging us to engage. It's like, it's like if you want to lose weight, we can inspire you, give you resources, coach you, but that person has to engage in the process.
That's right.
And that's what transformation requires us to engage at a deeper level. And that's why it's not easy. That's why most people, sir, they may not do what you are telling them to do. You might be telling them this, ABC every single day. The reason people don't do it is because it requires them to sweat.
Thank you. Well, listen, just pause right there, smile. We're about to get out of here, wrap it up. You don't have to log off. Once I play our trailer, it'll just be us and you, and we can have our high five from here. Listen, y'all, you've heard it here first on Conversations with Cornelius with Miss Toyin, who's connected. Gatekeeper, doorkeeper, entrepreneur, success coach. She wants to add value. You have a product, like she said, what's in your hand? What's in your hand? Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Cornelius and Miss Toyin. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't wait to talk to you later and do some more things with you. Hey, y'all, until next time. Thank you for tuning in to Conversations with Cornelius. Please follow me on my social media platforms: Facebook, Cornelius A. Hill; Instagram, Arne Hill; Twitter, Hill Cornelius; and YouTube, Cornelius Hill. Now do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe. It's Conversation.